I think at some point we have to have a town hall or substantive conversation on why big budget action films are failing in this era of Marvel domination with all the technology available. Why don't action films work anymore? But that's a discussion for a later date. Here's my review of Netflix's new action thriller, The Gray Man. Well, the Russo brothers are back with a stacked cast. You got Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, Billy Bob Thornton, Anna de Armas, Reggae John Page, Alfred Woodard, Danush, and Jessica Henwick. All this talent, and this film still felt like retro throwback to the 90s, but not in a good way. Okay, so what's it about? Now, stop me if you've heard this before. Gosling stars as Six, a convict who gets sprung out of prison by a CIA recruit played by Billy Bob Thornton, who trains him to be an international operative only known as the Gray Man. He becomes the best there is, but when he defies orders, refusing to kill a CIA colleague who's slipped him a thumb drive as he drew his last breath, a $10 million bounty is placed on the Gray Man's head to get that evidence back that could expose dark secrets within the agency. Familiar, right? Because it's the log line to just about every CIA mercenary op rogue takedown known to man. Except the Bourne series, particularly Bourne Supremacy, which is one of the best action scripts, one of the best action screenplays ever produced. Bourne works. It works for many reasons, particularly for authentic action sequences and very little dialogue. And by that I mean every word used is purposeful. If they say it, it means something. There are no extra words. They don't have a word count in the Bourne series, particularly the Bourne Supremacy. Every edit is clean. That action, it's so clean and it's quick. It's very quick and punchy. The score is like white noise. It doesn't over exaggerate or force the point. The characters are well developed. You don't have to know everything about them because they are people we wouldn't ordinarily know anyway. We're getting an inkling of what's going in or what's going on within that agency. In the Bourne series, there is no redundancy. If you hear it, it means something. So I bring all that up to say that this is the total opposite, polar opposite of why Bourne works. This doesn't, and it's shocking because it comes from esteemed filmmakers like the Russo brothers. What I really liked about this film, Gosling and Billy Bob Thornton. Billy Bob Thornton's character, his dialogue is economized in a way that he only says what's necessary. He's not necessarily holding back, but it's just anything else is just unnecessary and won't move the story. He does not over explain. There is no filler dialogue. He's to the point. He indulges to the point exchanges, nothing more. Gosling's punchlines. I did appreciate Gosling's punchlines. They work for me because He otherwise has no facial expression. He is like a blank canvas. And so he delivers them wry and sort of cynical in a way. And he uses his face to express what he's feeling. So for me, his comedic timing works. And then I like some of the action sequences. One of the first scenes with the fireworks, I think it's beautifully captured, I'll say. And then the fight scene in the OR, there's a fight scene in an empty operating room, which worked. I thought that was quite creative. It felt like John Wicky in a way. And the final act, the action in the final act works. Not with the over-exaggerated Mission Impossible score or James Bond score. The score hurt it, but it otherwise worked. The rest, for me, was sloppy. And the screenplay, on the page, a film like this works. This was an adaptation, just like Bourne. Bourne wasn't a direct adaptation, but it was adapted from the series, Bourne Supremacy. In execution, this screenplay didn't work. So on the page, this looked like it was going to be a banger. But in execution, it doesn't work. Now to the issues I had with the film. The dialogue, first and foremost. The dialogue, the lines sounded archaic. And the jokes. The jokes sounded recycled, like this came from the 90s. I don't know. The jokes, most of the jokes didn't land. And over-explaining the title, I thought was weird. At the 50-minute mark, there's an explanation of what a gray man is within the agency and what the gray man does. It's irrelevant, and it's definitely irrelevant at that point in the story because the first scene, Billy Bob Thornton explains in far fewer words what a gray man is. It's the first scene. We already know. So we're going to go 50 minutes and then you're going to explain it again. At this point, we don't care. We already realize what his purpose is. And then the action sequences. They looked over-exaggerated. I mean, they are so sloppily choreographed that I was ready to turn it off because there is no way I'm going to be, that my mind's going to be poisoned over the Russo brothers. I was like, no, absolutely not. They were choreographed so sloppy, especially the scene on that plane, the action sequences on that plane. And I'm sure the production costs and the days it took to film it. Come on, no. The action sequences aren't seamless or realistic, and the editing of those scenes don't help. And then the score. Don't get me started on the score. Every scene has a score. It's overscored. This film is not quiet. But some action scenes, you want to hear the action or the sound editing, or you want to hear the punches and so forth. But you can't because it's scored. You hear music, accompaniment. The action sequences, you want to hear the punches land and the kicks and the knife and you want to hear those, the sound design, and you can't because of the music accompaniment. The score is over punctuating the action and the dialogue, and that is very distracting. That takes you away from the film. I felt that it was forced and it was overused, and every piece of music sounds like an ode to 007 and Mission Impossible, and not in a good way. There's no authenticity or realism whatsoever. The main objective seem to be action. No story really is well developed. Nobody's storyline is well developed. Like, just place Ryan Gosling in these John Wickian situations that would otherwise be impossible um, to get out of. And then we just watch him get out of them in the nick of time. That's not original, but I understand those are the rules of these big set piece actions films. And then there are characters like Alfre Woodard and Regé-Jean Page who are underutilized because there's too much else going on. There's so many characters to follow that their characters, who are supposed to be very pivotal, their arcs are pivotal to the story, but they're unutilized. And I understand that every character, it serves its purpose, but too much time is wasted on insignificant storylines, and uninterested story. And then the motivation. Okay, so when the thumb drive is revealed, it really doesn't seem worth all of this. Killing innocent bystanders, destruction of property and cities, like the destruction of like these international cities, just because that thumb drive holds incriminating evidence of a higher up within the CIA. So all of this is for his career expedience, so that he can remain. All of this. Come on, come on. Then the question becomes, should you stream The Gray Man? If you like popcorn flicks, you will probably enjoy this film. It's already #1 on Netflix, so many are seeing it. It'll probably have a lot of streaming hours. Should you see this in a theater? It's not in many. I couldn't find it in my local theater. I was going to support it in the theater. It wasn't in my theater. And I believe so far it's made 249,000 internationally, or something along those lines. It hasn't gotten on the board really. If you like the Russo brothers, can you enjoy this? You could. Again, if you enjoy popcorn flicks, you might like it. It's on Netflix, so if you already have your Netflix account or password, then sure, why not? But are you going to take much from this? No, you're not, probably. No. It's just something else to just watch if there's nothing else going on. That's sad to say. There's some cool action sequences, but for the most part, no, it's a dud. It's not worth 200 million. At any rate, thank you so much. If you stuck around this long, I certainly appreciate you. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And until next time, peace.